And so...
Well, who are these people, and what are they telling you now? If you could relate that to my audience, please, Nick.
The victims?
Yes.
They all basically say the same story. They were recruited either out of Boys Town, some were runaway indigents, and one girl that I talked to, actually the first girl to come forward was out of a foster care home that was horrific, and she had been molested by her foster father, or her adopted father, and then they had actually given her to this pedophile network to be flown around the country.
Certain kinds of people are victims in this, or is it just completely unselected? Because I'm going to tell you, Nick, I did a little time in Boys Town myself when I was a kid. I went to the Catholic Church. I don't know, maybe I just didn't fit the profile, you know? Nothing happened to me, but I did know people where things did happen to them.
Yeah, I mean, predators are very, very... I mean, predators on this type of a level are very sharp, and they know who they can prey upon. And I think, at least with the Boys Town kids that I've talked to, they came from very dire straits, lower socioeconomic backgrounds, and money was a real integral part of it.
Especially with boys, they use money and drugs, and girls maybe a little harder. You think? I don't know.
Yes, but drugs also played an integral role too. I mean, because the kids would, according to what they've told me, would be provided with whatever type of drug they wanted, and they'd be able to. I mean, when you get young kids hooked on drugs, and I mean, you basically enslave them, and they become almost like a cyborg who is willing to pander to any of your whims. So, and then the money too, the money and the drugs together were a very powerful, alluring effect. And there are some kids that certainly wouldn't have engaged in it, but then there are others that would. And these types of predators are very astute, and they have a good judge of character as far as who they can prey upon and who they can't.
Nick, you mentioned the CIA's involvement in all of this, and as a blackmail method. Have you talked much about MK Ultra? In other words, you know, abusing these kids to such a degree that they can be mind controlled, that they can be used at a later time for service to the elite.
I get into a little bit of that. Only one of the victims that I've talked to has said that he was part of any kind of a mind control program. So I think that, I mean, the story of Franklin overlaps on a lot of different levels. I mean, there was the plundering of a savings and loan institution, and then there was the pandering of children. There was also drug involvement, and then I think that there might have been some mind control too. So that's what makes Franklin, as far as just looking at something very perfidious and corrupt about our government. That's what makes Franklin such a rich milieu, is because there were so many intersecting black ops that comprised Franklin.
Yeah, and we've got Barney Frank today, a major player in the congressional banking committees. His D.C. home was used as a base of operations for an escort service. I don't know how he got away with this. From 1985 to 1987, the service was run by Barney Frank's lover. He is openly gay. Stephen Goby, I believe was his name, the son of a Marine Corps Master Sergeant and a Pentagon budget analysis. And that was discovered. He had plausible deniability, and it all just went away.
Yes, that whole scandal. I mean, the Washington Times did an amazing job reporting on Spence's blackmail operation and Barney Frank. But unfortunately, the Washington Times is owned by the Reverend Moon.
Yeah, it is.
And they were easily, I mean, the reporters did an amazing job, but it was very easy for other mainstream entities, media entities, to just discard their reportage. And it's truly unfortunate because they did do a crack job. And granted, Reverend Moon is certainly an unsavory individual, but William Randolph Hearst was an unsavory individual.
Katharine Graham, in my opinion, was an unsavory individual, yes.
Well, I mean, William Hearst murdered someone on his yacht. I mean, that was having a dalliance with his mistress. I mean, but yet the reporters that reported for him weren't belittled because of William Randolph Hearst, but yet, unfortunately, the reporters at the Washington Times are belittled because of the Reverend Moon.
Yeah, well, I've actually had several of them on and asked them about Reverend Moon. They don't want to talk about it, Nick. You remember when he was coronated by George Bush here a couple of years ago in Washington, D.C. as like the king of the earth?
And the Bushes have become very close.
Explains a lot. And a guy named Ban Ki-moon is the Secretary General of the United Nations right now. They say there's no relation, but then we completely digress here. Where are we at with all of this, Frank? And by the way, did you find Johnny Gosch? Did you find any leads to what happened to Johnny?
I found leads, and there's a high probability that he might be alive. I reached out to someone who reached out to him, who said that he reached out to him. And I think he's been through, from what I have been able to discern, he's been through a very difficult time. And he doesn't want to be the subject of...
But why wouldn't he contact his mother? I mean, that just seems it's hard to swallow.
According to Naringash, he contacted her in 1997, and they actually met face-to-face. I have talked to someone who has said that they've talked to Johnny Gosch over the years. Actually, I've talked to two people who have said that they've talked to Johnny Gosch over the years. One I believe and one I do not believe. But I think that Johnny Gosch was abducted, at least from what I've been able to discern by this particular pedophile ring or network that I've been investigating.
Led by, or at least subtitled by Larry King, not the Larry King from CNN, but the African-American Larry King, who was a key player in the Republican Party. Wow,
and
Nick.
I tried to coax Johnny Gosch from the cold, but he wasn't willing. And but that's something that I do. I mean, it's kind of unfinished business for me here with this story. With the rest of Franklin, I think I pretty much nail it as far as how it was covered up and why it was covered up. And there's a lot of areas, like in the Franklin cover-up of John DeCamp's book, where he makes kind of surmise and speculation, and I've been able to actually nail down a lot of those things.
What about Hunter S. Thompson? There have been some rumors going on about him that he might have been involved in this.
I talked about that, and that's apocryphal too.
So you think that that's also a canard? That's also just rumors? I hope that that's true, because I've always been a major admirer of Hunter S. Thompson, and I don't want to believe that about him.
No, I do not think that that's true. I talk about the genesis of those rumors, and I pretty much...
Well, what did you find out? Is it possible that, he used to go infiltrate things like Hell's Angels and even the Nixon campaign or the 72 presidential campaign? He would infiltrate things and pretend to be one of them in order to get the story. Was even that much true, or nothing was true there?
I firmly believe that nothing linking Hunter S. Thompson. There isn't any credible...
How did that rumor start, and why would it start?
What happened there was one of the victims, who said that he was part and parcel of a snuff film, said that one of the person that was making the film introduced himself as Hunter Thompson. Now, the kid didn't know Hunter Thompson from like a hole in the wall. Had no idea who Hunter Thompson was. He just remembered that that's how the guy introduced himself.